the intensity of radiant energy is inversely proportional to the square of the distance from the source. So this is a radiation. And now we will talk about the classification of the fires. So based on the different material, it means the fuel. And we classify the fires to be following 4 different categories. Class A is solids. Class B is liquids. Class C is gases. Class D, the metals. Class F, and sometimes we call it Class K, is for the cooking oil and the fats. This is totally the 5 different categories of the fires. Now we will talk about the fire hazards, identify and control. So first we will talk about the fire hazard. Following is most of the important hazard from the fire. First one is flames and heat. The second one is oxygen depletion. The third one is smoke. And the fourth, gases combustion products. The 5 is structural failures. So this is talk about the identification source of ignitions. This is from 1910.106 E6. Must take adequate precautions to prevent ignition of flammable vapors. Some sources of ignitions include, but not limited to, open flames, smoking, static electricity, cutting and welding, hot surfaces, electrical and mechanical sparks, lightning, and so on. And as we have known the most of the fire hazards, now we will talk about the fire risk assessment. In order to make sure we have a program to prevent any fire, and in case, how to control it. So we need to do a very good risk assessment. Here we talk about the steps for the fire risk assessments. So the step 1 is to identify the fire hazard. We have talked about it in the previous slide. So the steps 2 is identify the persons at risk. It means in case any fire happened, who will be in the risk of the fire. Step 3, evaluate, remove, or reduce and protect from risk. So first we know where is the hazard and who will be at the risk. Now we should know how to control it. So step 4 is record or plan. And here include the emergency plan. Generally we call it emergency response plan, ERP. And this is very important. We don't only need to have a very good ERP, but we also need to have a very good program to implement, include the drill, and so on. So the step 5 is review and monitor. So general fire precautions. Hi James, would you like to help me to read this page? Okay, good. Reduction of the risk of fire. Prevention of the spread. Adequate means of escape from fires. Maintenance measures to ensure means of escape available at all times. Means to fight fire. Means to detect and warn of fire. Fire actions, instruction, and training. Actions to mitigate the effects of the fire. Okay, James, thank you. So now we will talk about the control of the ignition source. So generally, everybody knows this is the most important ignition source. So only if we know which is the source, then we will know how to control it. This includes welding, hot works, smoking, and we need to have a checklist. The checklist will be start from the beginning of the business and keep to update it during the business ongoing. Arson. Arson is not happened often, but it is a very important fact. So we need to control it. So arson includes two different ways maybe. So first is external security. The second is internal security. We need to have a very good program to manage about this issue and try to prevent it happening. And we need to have a good system of work, include the permits to work, generally called PTW. So here we talk about the fire detection and the alarm systems. And if only we can find the fire on time, we can control it on time and try to prevent the loss prevention. So detectors, there are lots of different detectors. It includes heat, smoke, radiation, flammable gas, and so on. So it doesn't matter what kind of detectors we use. We must maintain a good system and make sure it will be work in case any fire may happen. So alarm system, same with the detectors. There are lots of different systems. Here is some example about alarm systems. Automatic, manual, distinctive notes, audible, clear meanings, and single stage, two stage, staff alarms, and so on. And now we will talk about extinguishers. So talk about the extinguishers, we will deal with about the type, the color, the classifications of fire to be used on. Of course, the location of the extinguishers is very important, and based on the standard, includes the distance from the people. Mounting of extinguishers. We need to check it monthly, manually, weekly, and in case it need to be remounted. Training. People is the most important fact in the fire fight and how to use the extinguishers. We need to implement enough training for all of our staff and renew it based on the standard. And the last one we will talk about maintenance and inspections of the extinguishers. And generally it includes the weekly, monthly, and manual. So guys, looks like very nice. Okay, this is lots of different kinds of the extinguishers. But today we will only talk about the portable extinguishers. Okay. So this is the type of fire extinguishers. They are used in the color codes according to BSEN 3, 1996. So in the US we have a different system for the extinguishers, but it's almost the same with the UK standard. The contents of an extinguisher is indicated by a color zone on the body of the extinguishers. So this is some example. Like the first one, the contents is water, and it will be used for the class A fire. The second one is poured. And the third one is foam. This will be used on liquid fire. And the fourth one is the carbon dioxide. This will be used for the liquid and the electrical fires. So even we class it as 4 different classifications. But now more and more case we will use so-called ABC extinguishers. It means one extinguisher can be used to fight fire for the class ABC. Okay? So I will try to give you an example. I don't know if it can be worked or not. I'm not sure. So this is an example about how to fight fires. So this is the standard for the fire protection. It's 1910 .155 to 165. It's talk about fire protection, like extinguisher training program, extinguishers, initial and annual trainings. Portable extinguishers provide and accessible. Extinguishers charge and operable. Extinguishers annual checks. And this is a very important standard for the fire protection. And in USA, we will use a lot of different standard. The most important one is from the National Fight Association. Okay. So, and for me, I like to show you how to use the extinguishers, but because it's not on hand, so I will just talk to you about how to use it. And maybe next time I will show you how to operate extinguishers. Okay? So summary. The fire was classified as A, B, C, D, and F. And sometimes F is a key, according to different fuel materials. The extinguishers was categorized